group is the same. It's just that your focus is different. Okay, so if you have two types of taking, we have self-selection. We have what do you call it? Self-selection. Other people selected, nobody selected. Okay, so propaganda frequency dia akan yang memiliki jenis solution. Okay, so kalau yang was to teaching or someone else reject on speech act, speech act what based on what you have chosen. Okay, let's say this now class group and sahaja. So maksudnya dia satu je lah. Dia satu je. This course marker dia akan buat and je. Maksudnya table dia kecil je. Okay, alright. Okay, so kat sini I place example. Example macam begini. Okay, example ni maksudnya we need to include the example that shows assertive. Okay, kat mana yang tunjuk perkataan or the phrase that show assertiveness. Okay, so assertive you got 6. But you don't have to put all, because if you were to put all, it would be a lot. It would be banyak sangat. Okay, so you do dua sahaja. Okay, dua sahaja. So contoh kat sini dia satu. Okay, tak satu saja lah. Okay, so kat sini assertive. 6 occurrences, but you have you only put 2 on this first occasion when I speak to you as a person, in person as your queen. Okay, so this phrase show her assertiveness. The question of the supply of electricity in Scotland is represented with a view to legislation. Okay, so kat mana assertive? Dia highlight kan? Kat sini dia tak highlight. Okay, so contoh, when I speak to you as a queen, this is show assertiveness. So you highlight it. Okay, declaration, and I declare. Ini memang very clear and straightforward. And I declare, particular because I declare. And declare that I am faithful Protestant and that blah blah blah. Okay, commit, that means you will commit. Okay, so kalau commit ni, ini pun tak perlu. Ini pun tak perlu. Sebab kenapa? Sebab seluruh ayat ni menunjukkan commitment. Okay, alright. So based on what you have done, you have chosen to the number of occurrences and example. Okay, so how many example on day 2? On day 2, let's say you have 90. Let's say you have 20. But I only require 2 in your table. Okay, alright. Except from group, Athena just now. Sebab dia ada satu je. Athena ada satu je. Kalau dua, alamak kecil. Dia punya table kan. Kalau macam ni, dia table affiliation. Athena punya group, dia punya table. Except for just correct. Ingat misalnya, okay, example, dia satu example, and blah 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 blah. Kecil dia table dia. Tak kecil lah. Orang lain semua banyak. Tiba dia punya kecil sangat kan. Ada 2 example. So kalau untuk aturan punya group, ni sebab dia buat spesifik. Saya rasa dia seorang je kot. Yang lain semua buat secara besar-besaran sikit. So yang ni, you kena letak. Okay, sebab dia buat satu je. I nak 10 example. Which is very, very easy. Okay, so you punya group 10. Okay, 10 example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, done. Okay, contoh kalau 10 lah. Kalau dia 20, contoh 30. Kena letak 30 pun, janganlah. I cakap 10 je kan? Letak 10 je. Kalau dia ada 100, 10 je. Sama macam group lain. Kalau you ada 1, I nak letak 10 pun. Kalau ada 1, letak 1 je lah. Kalau ada 1 je. Okay, so group lain kena ada 2. Okay, group lain exercise kit, which is question number 2. Okay, identify the functions of any function. Okay, function maksudnya kita nak tahu fungsi-fungsi dia. Okay, sebenarnya fungsi-fungsi ni semua dah ada dalam dia punya degree, sepatutnya ada. Functions of integer contoh, functions of n ada dalam sesuai. Functions of framing sepatutnya ada dalam dia punya chapter tu. Sepatutnya kena ada functions dia. Okay? So, jangan main ikut je, dia copy paste kan. Dia buat je lah functions. Functions okay, 4.3 pula 4.3 functions of sekarang kita nak tahu fungsi. Bila kita dah jawab kan, macam tadi, assertive. So, kita dah jawab dah soalan dia. Kita tahu dalam ni ada kondisi. Dalam ni ada assertive. Dalam ni ada expressive. Inilah maksud dia, type dia. Type yang dia dah jumpa dalam speech ataupun dalam social media post yang dia nak pilih tu. Okay? So, kita dah jawab soalan dia. Types dia, kita assertive dan noun. Declaration ada 1 only, concessive 19, and then expressive you have 3. And you provided the examples. Okay? So, you have answered your first research aim. Now, we move on to the second R2 or second research aim, which is functions. Okay? So, because you have many types, okay, those who have many types, okay, like evolutionary acts, like tentating or whatever it is that you choose. Let's say you have many types, you have speech acts that have many types. Okay, you choose only 3 types that you want to elaborate in that. Okay, so let's say this group, okay, let's look at this group, she or they have chosen assertive. Okay, so assertive, she provided the example of the sentence or the phrase that shows assertiveness. Okay? Like how you did here. You're going to provide the sample of phrases or the sample of sentences that show assertiveness or declaration. So they choose assertiveness. Okay? So you put example 1. This is from the example. Okay? Example 1, my government. This is based on your data. It will not be the same for every group. Okay? And then after it, okay, here is the elaboration. Okay? Elaboration where you want to explain on the which one that shows assertiveness, which linguistic feature that shows assertiveness from this example. Okay? So here you can say, like for instance, this group say, it can be seen when Queen Elizabeth mentioned will continue to take their full share in the work of blah blah blah. Her Majesty also informed the public that the government wanted to continue blah blah blah. So what you want to do is, you explain here what does it mean in the example, and you show which part that shows assertiveness. Or if you are doing tentating, then you show which part that shows that this is self-selection, this is nobody is taking the turn, for instance. Okay? So you just explain. But when explaining, you need to show which linguistic feature. For this one, dia kata will continue to take. Okay, will continue maksudnya show assertiveness because you want to show your power, you want to show like an instruction. Okay, so I don't want on the elaboration of what happened in the excerpt only, but also which part or which word or sentence that shows the the reflection of your chosen focus of the analysis. Okay? his or her leadership. Okay, so macam mana nak tahu leadership dia macam mana ni, kita tak belajar pun pasal leadership. Okay, so kat sini lah what you have done with your article on leadership, you're going to include it. Okay, you did not do the past study, right? It's fine, it's okay, but you're going to use your article that you have collected, and you're going to decide which leadership that shows by the participant that you have chosen. Okay, so in this case, she mentioned that it is democratic. Okay, that fosters collaboration, inclusivity, and also consultation. How do you know democratic? You tak boleh cakap, oh dia democratic je. Macam mana you tahu dia democratic? How? When you need to show the evidence from the example. Okay, example dia tentang penggunaan perkataan dia. So you kena tunjuklah yang mana yang menunjukkan dia democratic, yang mana yang menunjukkan dia authentic, yang mana yang menunjukkan dia contoh autocratic. Okay, so here when she said my government will continue to take their full share. My government will continue to take their full share. So they justify this. This statement means that the Queen is willing to share contribution and collaboration in order to achieve their goals. Her Majesty is also characterized as someone that has future-oriented and inclusive. This is because the statement, my government, okay, shows that Queen Elizabeth wanted to portray a sense of responsibility and strengthen the government's role within the organizational structure. Okay, so here, dia tak perlu banyak guys, tak perlu banyak. Contoh kalau you dah kata demokratik lah. Kalau macam ni dia tulis inklusif pula kan. So ni tak perlu banyak. You boleh cakap sama ada dia demokratik ke, dia autocratic ke, dia authentic ke, dia transformational ke. Tapi macam mana nak tahu? Kena rujuk kepada sentence or phrases that she or he used. Okay, based on the example. You cannot take from any other data. It must be based on the example that you have done. Okay, alright. Okay, I forgot to mention here, okay, everyone, all group must include context. Okay, context ni maksudnya apa? Context ni maksudnya all the background information in respect to the example. Okay, so now let's look at this example, context. Queen Elizabeth II, at that time she was a queen speech lady. There were thousands of people gathered to watch this majestic ceremony, as this was the very first time Queen Elizabeth gave speech. The statement was needed to show context means background information of your example. So for instance, if your example is about social media posts, right? So you can say, in this example, Syed Saddiq, okay, posted a post on blah 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 on 28 December 2025 where he advocates on the issue of blah 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 blah. These posts received 100 comments and also 2,000 likes at the time of writing. So itu konteks dia. Konteks ni kita nak tahu apa yang perlu I tahu tentang example ni. Kalau tak ada konteks, I takkan faham guys. I tak tahu pun. I tak tahu because this one was an excerpt. Excerpt ni kita ambil dia dan kita letak kat sini. Kita ambil dari composition. Okay, you ambil skerat, you letak kat sini. And then you expect the readers to understand the excerpt. Tak boleh. Okay, so that's why we need the context. We need to provide background information about the example that you are giving in order for you to understand the situation or in order for you to understand the example. Okay, alright, so remember the organization for each of the analysis. Number one is the context. Okay, number two is the example. With the example, you can put it in the table like this or in the box like this or up to you as long as we can see the example. Okay, If you are doing turn taking, if you are doing an interview, maksudnya dia kena ada orang yang cakap lah. Example ni takkan jadi sebiji macam ni. Takkan jadi, dia akan jadi macam ni. Ini contoh lah, saya tak ingat siapa yang buat example interview. Contoh blah blah blah, and then we have interviewer. Okay, blah blah blah, psychiatric. Interviewer, maybe interviewer take turn again, and then psychiatric. If your example is interview, it can't be like this. It can't be like this, guys. It must be in a form of a conversation. Okay. Kalau you buat interview tapi you punya example macam ni, salah lah. Lepas tu you nak buat turn taking pula. Salah lah. Tak, macam mana nak buat turn taking? Tunjuk example macam ni, dia mesti dalam in a form of conversation. Okay. Alright. So, you put the example afterwards, you explain about the assertive. Kat mana assertive? Yang mana menunjukkan assertive? Tunjuk dekat I tak nak macam you tak relate dengan perkataan. You kena ingat kita buat discourse. So bila you analyse discourse, you kena tengok perkataan mana, ayat mana yang menunjukkan dia assertive. Okay. And then the next paragraph is on the discourse, the leadership. Okay. Leadership, dia ada beberapa jenis nanti. Nanti carilah. Nanti carilah. Okay. Tapi dah cari kan. Dia cari dalam artikel tu kan. Dia tengoklah. Dia demokratik ke? Dia rasa dia demokratik ke? Macam mana dia tahu demokratik? Sebab penggunaan my contohnya. My government. Instead of demokratik ke my? Sepatutnya taklah. Sebab dia macam cakap my government. Saya punya kan. Saya punya government. Sepatutnya tak demokratik lah. Sepatutnya jawapan dia lain. Okay. So, kita nak tengok dia punya leadership based on perkataan yang dia guna. Okay. Second example, sama je. Contoh you nak buat komisi. Contoh, buat konteks, put the example, put the elaboration, and number 3, okay, on the leadership style. Okay. And then number 4, is there another example, context example? Okay, yang ni dia buat komisi. Dia punya komisi. Ya kalau you tengok, ni komisi. Lepas tu, kenapa terus konteks kan? Mana dia punya heading? Sebab dia continue with komisi. So, you boleh pilih. Dalam banyak-banyak type ni, kan? Dalam banyak-banyak type ni, you nak elaborate yang mana? Okay, are you going to elaborate on assertive? Are you going to elaborate on declaration? If you are going to elaborate on declaration, you can only do one example because you have only one. Okay, but because maybe this group feel like they have a lot of commissive, then they want to do commissive. Okay, 2 examples of commissive, 1 assertive. Okay, so you, based on the types that you have gotten here, up to you which one you want to elaborate. So let's say you want to put on assertive. Boleh je, tak ada masalah. Tak ada masalah. Okay, okay je. Tapi dia tak ada variety lah. Dia tak ada variety. Itu je. Okay. Or you want to put on all on commissive. Semua tiga example commissive. Okay, tapi tak ada variety. Itu je lah. Okay. Alright. Okay. Sekejap sebelum I lupa. Okay. Kat sini, you punya elaboration, the second paragraph. Make sure, okay, the second paragraph, this one, the second paragraph, make sure to focus on functions. Okay, because remember your research aim kan ada function. apakah function and. So, you tengok dalam ni, you tengok dalam example, function dia apa? Adakah function dia, contoh adakah function dia untuk menguatkan statement? Okay, or is it the functions of blah blah blah? So, you look at what you have done in your chapter 2. What are the functions? So, you focus on the function. Make sure you focus on function, but you also show me which word that show the function. Okay? Function. 3 examples. Okay. Alright, next we're going to do on conclusion. Conclusion finished. Halas. Okay, the final section. Okay, now let's look at the conclusion. Okay, the first paragraph, okay, you talk about the first usage aid. In total, Queen Elizabeth II used 4 types of illocutionary acts in her speech to the Parliament, which are assertive, declaration, commissive, expressive, okay, but she didn't have directive. Okay, so that's why in the table they didn't put the directive. The most used type of illocutionary act is commissive, with 19. Okay, coming in second is assertive at 6 times, and then we have 3 times of expressive and declaration occurring once. The high occurrence of permissive show that Queen Elizabeth II is committed leader that gives her words to her subjects, providing assurance and trust through her promises. Okay? So the first paragraph is the research aid. Macam mana nak buat? Pergi balik dekat you punya table. Okay, table you pun cerita balik je. Kita balik je. Cakap je, in the data, we have found the highest frequency of illocutionary acts, which is permissive, that occurred with 19. Coming second is the assertive with 6 times frequency, following by expressive with 3 occurrences, and finally with only 1 declaration. Okay. These totals up with, for instance, you have 50. Contohlah 19, 20, 26, 27, 28. And these total up with 29 illocutionary acts occurred in 1952 speech. Itu je guys. Itu je. You balik kepada you punya table. Cerita balik. Cerita balik. Okay, first research and conclusion. Okay. Yang ni, okay. Lepas tu nak buat macam mana pula? Okay. Yang kedua, yang ni, okay, this one, you tengok kat sini, you tengok dekat what you have done for your elaboration. You try to compute it and you try to relate it with your leadership. Okay? Second research aid plus leadership plus studies chapter 2. Okay? Past studies in chapter 2. Kan past studies dalam chapter 2 kan ada bahasa mereka contohnya. Bahasa Nelson kan buat. So, ada ke? Sama ke? Do you think that dia sama dengan past studies that you have done? berlainan dengan mereka contohnya. Okay. So kalau sama, you bolehlah cakap this tadi or the activist shows similarity with Greta's leadership where he also shows democratic with the use of revolutionary acts. Contoh, kalau dia sama, kalau tak sama tak apa, tak ada masalah. Kalau tak sama, you cakap dia tak sama. The activists who we think have effective leadership differs than leadership that showcased by Nelson Mandela. Contoh. Okay, why? Because the activist is more stressing on the personal pronoun, meanwhile Nelson Mandela focuses on inclusive pronoun. So that's why dia tak sama. So you akan gunakan your past tense in your chapter 2. You need to compare. You need to compare. You need to compare and also contrast. Kalau you nak compare, you must make differences lah. Then, contrast ni similarity. Kalau ada similarity, show similarity. Kalau tak ada, show differences. Tapi kena tengok your chapter 2. Kena tengok you punya chapter 2. Ada yang buat chapter 2 tentang primary school students kan? Try lah macam ni nak relate. Try lah nak relate dengan finding dia dengan finding you. Finding ni maksudnya apa yang you jumpa dalam you punya slide. Second message aim. Plus your focus of analysis. Relate with leadership. Plus with customer skill chapter 2. Okay. The students of language is a very good harmony with democratic and inclusive. Tapi kan atas dia cakap democratic dan inclusive. So kat bawah memang kena sama lah. Tak boleh lah tak. Kat bawah lain kan. Reflection of thanks, solidarity and moral purpose. Choose commonality and aspire trust in the subjects. And this was not merely a function but also an effective tool for authority, compassion and also commitment. That's the main gear setuju betul. Nampak tak? So, you boleh nanti, you boleh look at the gist of how you want to relate it. But if you do like orientation, engagement, perhaps that is something. So I think we can add few of the examples and few of them that we have related to the analysis. So based on the first question, the answer is focus on having actual findings, actual method, actual aim method, findings, conclusion. Everything needs to fit with positive, right? And the focus is the passing. So that means the most important of the problem should be on the findings. So if at the end you feel that you will have exceeded, you have been okay. So don't exceed that. That's really okay. So you need to delete anything that you feel is not important for you to include. Okay? Number two, back to your question. Everything should be in the positive, including the intro, the aims, the method, the findings, which is should be the most devoted paragraph, and other things which okay. So what you did here is already clear, is just that the findings should be more elaborated, I think. So that is easy for you to see how you're going to relate it with your data. Okay, any other number? Okay, alright. So okay, itu satu kan. Ada lagi ni. Last. Okay, the first last, eh? Last and beginning, last. I don't know what to do with the last. College transfer progress test now. Transfer progress test. Okay, what time it will be, or can we decide on the time that everyone is free? Okay, is it going to be 1 hour or 2 hours? 1 and 2 hours. We can do like 2 to 4 or 4 to 6. It's overnight. Huh? Okay, correct. Okay, so yeah, this one is really excited we can prove it, but it will be on Tuesday. Okay, you just give me time on Tuesday. which one that is selected. Tingkat selection, macam ni kalau dia pilih 1992, dia switch. So kalau dia yang mana yang pilih? Macam tak mah? Okay, lepas tu pun ada macam ni, I tak nak macam selection dia cakap mana ada levels, ada competition. Tapi ni tak best sebab pusat dia kontak dia. Dan dia kena pandai-pandai lah fokus yang mana yang lebih penting. Tapi analisis ni kita salah, abstract kita salah. Tapi normal pula dia besar. So dia tak efektif lah. Sebab dia fokus benda lain. Yang penting abstract ni example dan semua kecil. Seperti ini yang the main point. Okay, tengok last contoh. Yang ni straightforward je, best boleh buat. Okay. Presentation 5 minit sahaja. Satu dia 5 minit. 5 minit sahaja. Fokus pada finding yang massive references conclusion. Sebenarnya aspek ini tak perlu banyak-banyak. Aspek ini yang cakap apa tu finding je. Pasal dia buat banyak macam ni. Nanti benda yang penting macam mental ni dari kecil. Finding ni dari kecil. Sebab ini adalah the heart of your poster. Okay, last one, yang ni pun satu. Yang ni pun satu. Sebab, tahulah, dia macam ni, kalau you, ni bagus. Ni bagus sebab dia dah highlight dah. Supaya bila orang tu, I nampak lah tak ada yang tunjuk Zoom kan. Tapi kalau offline yang susahnya. Offline kan susah dan kecil. Tapi yang tu tak lagi terbelah dengan ni. Alright, itu sahaja contoh je. Ada soalan ke? So yes please.
Miss, Miss ada sebut tadi word limit untuk poster.
Oh tak je.
Okay. So memang tak ada word limit lah.
Betul.
Alright, that's me.
Tapi kenalah pandai-pandai. Okay. Presentation, create a research poster summarizing the analysis simplified to language styles. Macam poster example je lah. Kita kena ada example pun tak je macam mana nak tahu betul letak kan. Present your poster, prepare a 5-minute audio. 5-minute presentation, that means you will need to present for 5 minutes. Ensure that your poster is clear, concise, and visually appealing. And this one is for the whole document. Okay? And submission of mini project, including the poster, will be on the 11th of January. So that means your chapter 1 and book 4, and also your poster will be on the 11th, and you're going to submit in the drive that you have created. Okay. Okay, ada soalan lain? Kalau tak ada, saya rasa end live lah. End live. Berilah aduh kantoi lah guys. I nak end the class lah. Okay, tak ada soalan Tak ada soalan. So I wish you all the best. Tapi tengoklah, I tulis kat sini. I dah tulis lah ni, plagiarism ni. Dia kena pandai-pandai lah. Okay? I dah tulis tu, kalau you tak nampak ni, jangan marah I. Jangan marah I. Kita dah buat lah semua. Dia suruh buat ni, buat tu, buat ni. Tapi tak nampak A juga macam mana? You fikirlah sendiri. Kalau you memang betul-betul buat yang original betul ke? Boleh cari ke macam tu lah. So kalau markah you tak tinggi, maksudnya you tak follow the requirement. Sama ada requirement based on the instruction or the requirement mentioned during the class. Okay? Ada juga yang buat salah. I dah tak larat lah nak cakap kan. Tak larat sekali je lah. I comment pun bukannya you guys revise pun. So, sekali je lah I cakap. Lepas tu you guys nak revise ke, tak nak revise ke, up to you lah. Okay? Alright. Okay, so that's it for today. I think dah siap dah. I punya template. First research aim, jangan buat sebiji je ni pula. I dah ajar tadi cycle research aim, conclusion, and then make sure you have your references. Okay. Alright, do we have last question before we end the class?
Miss,
Yes?
for chapter 3 and 4, nanti submit tu asing I mean,
Yeah. What do you do?
the PDF. Feel like scribe macam in one PDF.
In one document.
Okay. Lepas tu, kan Miss dah comment kan? So, the revised version of chapter 1 and 2 pun submit juga. Like in the same document or
Kena submit juga. Okay. So, kan you dah submit, chapter 3 dah submit, chapter 1 dah submit, chapter 2 dah submit. Kan macam ni kan. Ni dah submit, chapter 1 dan 2. Chapter 3 dah submit, tapi kenalah yang finalize punya. Chapter 1 until chapter 4. Campur dengan poster. Lepas tu bila you submit tu, you tulislah chapter 1 ataupun you tulis mini project, finalize document ke, Lepas tu bawah tu infografik pula ke, poster macam tu. Tapi kena submit yang the whole document that is lengkap, that is complete. Okay, starting from your cover page until your references. Okay. Alright, is that clear? Okay. Alright, any other question? Okay, kalau tak ada kita end kelas dulu. Thank you so much guys, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye, Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Miss.